Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. The weather's being quite nasty, so I figured now's the time to start the tabletop explanation or description of some of these cameras that are being donated to me. This one is yet to be cleaned up, but it's my latest donation, and it's a NIKKORMAT FTN. Now these NIKKORMATs, the FTNs, the run started in 1967 and it went on until 1975. They had some features like a 60-40 center weighted metering, full TTL metering. Even though it's got a small prism. The ASA range is from 12 to 1600. The aperture range on these, which is quite amazing, is depending on the lens, 1.2 to f32. So I'll show you why that depends on the lens here in a little bit. It came with this 1.4 50 millimeter lens, which is very sought after lens, and the lens is in good shape as well. They featured a self timer and a mirror lockup. Now the mirror lockups on these was something a little new and a little different. Excuse the furnace. With the Nikon Fs, you had to fire a shot and waste a shot before you can do a mirror lockup. So, but on these, it was just a push of a button, and up it went. And then you slide the button back down, down it goes. The shutter controls were a little bit different. And Olympus carried this on for quite a while after that. We're done by a ring right on the lens mount. When you can see the shutter speeds through the viewfinder, but you cannot see your aperture through the viewfinder on this. So it was, once you got used to it, it was quite handy not being able to or not having to take your eyes off the shutter speeds. The shutter speeds are from ball to 1 to 1/1000th of a second. Another reason why a lot of people really like this camera is because it came with an optional cold shoe. So this has the actual cold shoe on it, and it came with the X and the geez, I can't read, and the M but one of these you can't use anymore because it was for a certain bulb. So it still works. I could actually put my Godox Nikon Pro N and plug it into this, and I have wireless flash. It's quite heavy. It's very solid. This was not a joke. This was built for a pro consumer camera. This was not built for just a consumer camera. It was built for a pro consumer camera that the pros would like it, and the very serious consumers that didn't want to point and shoot anymore. It's quite interesting. This button here is actually your depth of field preview, so it's quite handy. There's quite a lot of features on this. It's got a very good frame counter, and another thing it has for the meter. There's not only did you see the metering through the viewfinder, but you could also see the metering on the top. That moves a little bit there. Full metal. It's full metal construction. Self timer. It's quite the machine. So in order for them to sync your lens with the meter, you have to let me put this down. You have to move your lens to 5.6. Make sure that this is pushed down all the way. Attach your lens, and then do a full left and right and back, And what that does is that sets your lens. If you can see right here, it's a 1.4, and there's a little red dot that shows that it's almost at 1.2. So now it has self-indexed the lens to the actual metering. So very useful, quite useful, but it took a little getting used to some people. The speed for your film, the ISO or the ASA, is down here. It's a little stiff, but you move this little dial until you get to the ASA or the ISO you want to get to. They came with a Mercury 625 battery, which is no longer available. Some people are claiming the newer batteries work pretty good in them for the metering. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. I really haven't tested it enough yet. It does have a newer battery in there, but I'm noticing the metering is off. And the newer batteries, they lose their power. They slowly lose their power in a different way, so that starts throwing your meter off too. So I use the external spot meter. You know, I've used this enough to know, if I don't have the spot meter, where that little needle that is inside the viewfinder, it's a little needle, where it should actually sit. And it actually sits up quite high. But it's backwards, so the top is negative and the bottom is positive. So the top would be underexposing and the bottom would be overexposing. And on this one, you have to have it in the underexposed. I don't know why that is, but that's probably the battery handling that. You could hook up your cable release. This is a solid metal camera, and everything else is glass. There's no, you know, there might be some plastic in this camera. If it is, it might be just a little bit on the reel holder. So to open the back of the camera, there's a little lever here you push down. There you go. And as you can see, this camera is in very good shape. You know, yeah, I think this is a little bit of plastic, and of course the reel holder and everything, and the shutter. The shutter is a oh, got a little bit of dirt in there. The shutter is a it's a Copal square mechanical shutter. That it's a vertical with metal blades and a focal plane shutter. So it's very serious shutter. It's built to last and last and last, and these do. Now the strange thing about these FTNs or these NIKKORMATs is because of their name, and when they first came out, because they had a built-in meter, people shunned them. But to tell you the truth, most of the professionals had these in their bag. There's the off and on for the meter, right? Once you wind, you leave it open. They carried these in their bag because they found them quite handy, quite quick, and so for some strange reason they just got, I don't know why, but it's because of the name, because it didn't say Nikon. They got basically ignored. It sold quite a few units and made quite a few units, but the general public really had, it was because of the name that the general public really had some issues with them, because these cameras, their resale value was low, and to buy them now is really cheap. If you can find one like this, it still needs to be cleaned, that is in really good shape and everything functions on this camera, get this camera, because these cameras were built when Nikon was building cameras to last with hand-built quality. This is a very serious camera. I have another one that was given to me, and I repaired it and I used it, and it's just amazing. So in fact, it is basically it's going out the door more than my FE is, if you would actually believe that. So the self timer works on this. The self timer isn't a self firing self timer. It's there we go. And that's my NIKKORMAT FTN. That's my video on this. People are asking to see these videos. There's a lot already on the YouTube and that about them, but I don't mind doing this when the weather's really bad. So there you go. That's my take on the NIKKORMAT FTN. The donor for this doesn't want to be mentioned. A lot of them, you know, they like their privacy. They don't want to mention names. But yes, thank you very much for this donation. And we've already put it to use once or twice, a few times. But the film we used in here is not my favorite film. So I'm definitely leaning towards the Ilford Deltas. That's what's happening with me. So there we go. Cold shoe. You loosen off the. Like I said, this needs to be cleaned yet. I haven't cleaned this camera up yet. And there you go. It's a cold shoe, so you could use it with or without the cold shoe. I leave the cold shoe on because I'm going to figure out a mount on that cold shoe for another tiny little camera. So I can do point of view instead of using my phone. I can do a point of view when I'm doing my videos. So thank you very much. That's the NIKKORMAT FTN, NIKKOMAT in the Japan models, NIKKORMAT for the rest of the world. And if you can find one of these in really good shape, and a lot of them are because they just sat in closets. People bought them and just put them in closets. Grab it, because right now the prices are very low and this camera will not let you down. I've used it at -28 and it didn't even flinch. So there you go. Thank you very much. One down, lots more to go. See you on the next one.